Hi everyone, quick update on my 2002 Jetta. I was replacing the actuator and you will understand why. This is what's left of it, and this is the other piece. That is now out, which makes me really happy. It took me about an hour and a half to take out, so it's not a small job. It's very rusty down there. It's kind of difficult to access. There's not a lot of space. Although removing the air hose here was definitely helpful, so going from the EGR to the air intake, and disconnecting the big air intake hose that's running in the back here, and that goes through the turbo, so the turbo is exposed right now. Put some light on here. So that's the entrance of the turbo down there, and yes, removing that hose was definitely helpful. The reason being is that there is a big clamp on it. I cannot quite get to it actually, but there is a big clamp that wraps right around the turbo intake here, and this clamp is really hard to remove. It's one of these clamps similar to that one here. You need to get a pair of pliers in there. I wasn't able to do it, so I disconnected the intake from the airbox. And then just basically kind of spun it around. The clamp released. Actually, this whole thing is loose right now. I could take it out. It's a rigid plastic, so it's a little bit of a drag to take out, but it should come out. And because everything is disconnected, there we go. Actually, I'm gonna have to take it out because the clamp is still on it. There you go. And that clamp was extremely hard to take out. So as you can tell, it's kind of rusty, and anyway, so it was difficult to remove, and I wasn't able to remove it, as a matter of fact. So I decided to do it differently. I'm gonna have to spin it around a little bit. It's gonna be much easier to put back on. Now, as you can tell, the actuator has been destroyed literally for quite a while, and my biggest fear is that on the turbo, the actual vanes would not be moving anymore. So I'm gonna take you underneath the car. Give me just one quick second here. There you go. So underneath here is the turbo, as you can probably tell. And luckily, if I go all the way up to where the actuator actually connects, which I'm trying to get to, there we go. So this is my turbo and the air inlet, and let me actually just focus here. There is the control vane, or the little lever that controls the vanes, which we cannot really see it from here. Be able to see it from there. Yeah, and that's actually all the way up there. And if you listen to it, I'm gonna try to get a little closer here. By luck, it did not jam, so it's loose. It was stiff, and it was definitely corroded, and it was very. It wouldn't move because the actuator was dead for so long when this seized up, right? So I tried to push it really hard, and I felt a little bit of movement, and then added some WD-40 to the mix, and it's moving freely now, which makes me really happy, because that was actually one of my biggest concerns, is that this would be completely jammed and seized up, right? So that's where I'm at. I'm waiting for the new actuator coming from Amazon. This is actually a fairly inexpensive part. It's about $50. I'm gonna place it back on there. It comes with a bracket, so it's gonna. I'll see actually whether I'm reusing the bracket here, because there is a bracket that's on there. It's pretty old and rusty, so I'll take a look at it. But the main bracket that's actually connected to the turbo, you can still see it there. It's on the left here. Would need to zoom in. Yeah, right there. You can see it here, and it's at the bottom of the turbo right there. And this bracket is attached with what looks like two little bolts that I think are metric 8, and these are really corroded. So I did not even try to take them out. I'm sorry for the focus here. It's really difficult to zoom. But I would highly suggest you don't even try that, because sometimes these nuts can break. I've completely lost where I am right now. There we go. So this little, you can see one of them actually right there at the top, and it's really hard to take out. So I would not try that. I certainly didn't. It was not worth it. So I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup down there, make sure nothing gets into the turbo inlet, air inlet. That would be a recipe for disaster. Reassemble this and hopefully get a car that doesn't go to limp mode anymore, which is good news. So I'll post another video on this. See you soon.